Hello, my name is Tana and I started my YouTube channel in 2026. If you can like, share, and subscribe, I try to give a little bit of automotive tips and giving you options. You always have options. And one thing I wanted to talk about today is a blueprint of the vehicle. I know that kind of sounds weird or funny, but you could always be proactive when it comes to your vehicle's maintenance. You want it to be maintenance. You do not want it to turn into a repair, because a repair unfortunately means there's been a failure in the vehicle and it's kind of immediate to get it done in order to be safe on the road. So you came in for an oil change, and when you come into one of our quality tune-up locations, we're going to be checking belts, fluids, hoses, suspension. If you want, we could do a brake inspection, tire rotation upon request. But let's say outside of your courtesy inspection, they see a problem, whether it could be in your cooling system, suspension, leaks, a light that's on the dash. Now, sometimes we need tech time to pinpoint problems because it's outside of a courtesy inspection. Now, let's say that there's an oil leak. Yes, you want to do your preventive maintenance, but sometimes you want to get a blueprint before you do the preventive maintenance. Why? Well, let's say you have an oil leak coming from the valve cover and it's time for you to do your tune-up, and you're like, well, I'm coming in for my maintenance, which I need to do my spark plugs, my oil change, my filters, but you have an oil leak. Now, what if the oil leak's coming from the valve cover and it's going to recontaminate the spark plugs? Now, of course, if we're doing the tune-up and we see oil in the spark plugs, we're immediately going to let you know. But when you come in for an oil change, sometimes you feel overwhelmed because there's recommendations. You just wanted the oil change. I totally get that. But sometimes you want to get a blueprint because then you could plan for what you want to do in the future. And a blueprint for, say, okay, I'm going to say it. Some repairs and maintenance outweigh the value of the vehicle. And a lot of shops don't want to tell you that because, oh, they're going to need their car. Of course you're going to need your car, but sometimes the repairs outweigh the value of the vehicle and it's time for you to get another car. Now, the vehicle has sentimental value, or you really want to keep a hold of it, or it's really just not within your financial budget to buy a whole nother car, then we can get a blueprint for the vehicle. If it has an oil leak, before we get in there and replace belts or replace filters and so on and so forth, you might want to do an oil leak inspection so we can pinpoint the leak and then get a plan, what's more important, what's less important. Same thing, check engine light. Check engine lights on. You want us to scan the codes, troubleshoot the codes, and then give you the recommendations. What's more important? What's less important? You might have the check engine light on just for the vaporization system, which, yes, it's important, but if you have a coolant leak, the coolant leak is going to be more important than the evap system or an oil leak, depending on how bad the oil leak is. So when you come into a repair facility and they give you recommendations, you could always be proactive, get on a plan, which I tell my customers a blueprint. Once we get the blueprint, we know what we want to do first, last, in the middle, and we can plan for it, and we could do it little by little, whatever works for you. But then also, if you get a blueprint, and I had a customer the other day, and she's like, she calls me Weta, that's my nickname, and she came in for an oil change, and the car was leaking a lot of oil all over the place, but she had recommendations from prior, like she was going to need brakes soon, they were getting low, which at our quality tune-up locations, we check the brakes. So let's say you're at 10 millimeters or 12 millimeters, that's a lot of pad. Halfway through the pad, say 6 millimeters. 4 millimeters, we know it's close to being needed, or if it's already making noise, then we want to take care of it. But we can set up a blueprint to where we know what's more important, less, again. But when she came in, she knew she was going to need brakes, but she had a really bad leak, like an active leak. So she came in because her oil light had popped on. She's like, hey, I want to do my oil change. We pull it back and we see an active oil leak. So we were able to see where the leak was coming from and give her an estimate without an oil leak inspection. And we knew that was more immediate than the brakes. Now, she's going to come back next week. We're going to be doing the brakes, not a problem. But sometimes you can be proactive and you know, we do things as needed. But some repairs do outweigh the value of the vehicle. Have you ever went to a shop and you came in because it was making a noise or because a light came on, and then they fix one thing and then next week something else breaks, or, oh, that car just nickels and dime me? Well, not all diagnoses pinpoint every problem. There's different diagnoses for different systems. But when you go in and they're telling you there's a few things going on and they need more tech time or a blueprint, that's what I call a blueprint, it's beneficial to know what's all needed, and is it really something that you're willing to invest in the vehicle, or are we just going to get it going for a few months until you move on to your next car? So next time you go to a shop, I do recommend, you know, try to get on a plan, what you want to do with the car, what you're really willing to invest in the vehicle. And I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. This is all new for me, and have a blessed day.